This, hidden in the dark, is my 1974 XB genuine John Goss Special. It's a bit of a father-son project. It was quite the project, and we'll get into that later. But right now, as you can see, it's decided to vomit its guts all over itself. And this is a recurring motif. And it's all because of what's going on under here. So under here is not the factory motor. This has a 545 big block. It's a 460 stroker engine. We don't have the original block. Unfortunately, that was lost somewhere down the line. Presumably it got blown up. It was pretty common for people to try and get more power out of these, not take good care of them, and then they'd blow up. So unsurprisingly, it's not here. Now, there's a big story about all of this and how this came to be and why this motor in particular is in here, other than the fact that it's just amazing and super cool. But that's not what we're here to talk about at this stage. We need to talk about the fan belt. So down here is the fan and accessory belts. Now this doesn't have air conditioning. This has just got the alternator and the power steering and then the water pump as well. And it's got a set of thermo fans, so there's no actual fan on it because this motor does get quite hot. It's a big motor and a very little engine bay comparatively to what it's used to. I've had this issue multiple times now where it's spun belt and they've just went all over the place and the motor's overheated, or I've lost power to the batteries and this thing chews power. So we're going to finally do something about it, and what that is we're going to replace these little skinny V belts with a proper serpentine belt kit from CVF Racing. Now these are quite expensive, but I'm hoping that it's going to give all that extra grip we need with that bit of thickness on the belt, so that I'm never going to have this issue again, because it's giving me the pip. The only drama is, as mentioned, this doesn't fit in this engine bay, right? It's not made for it. It gets hot. We're gonna have space issues. Now I'm hoping it's not gonna be too bad, but from what I've measured, it looks like I might have to downgrade the thermo fans, which I really don't wanna do because this thing already gets pretty close to running hot. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna install the kit, well, remove the old kit, install the new kit. Should be all pretty straightforward. The biggest issue we're gonna have is that we're gonna have to re-bleed the power steering lines, I do believe, but other than that, it should be all okay. And then from there, put on the new kit and just see how it all fits and how it all works. And currently we're working here in the garage because I don't want to drive it and move it and risk damaging anything, because it's one day, it's all it's gonna take. It's just one time, the V-belt's gonna fly off and it's not gonna just melt itself, but it's actually going to get stuck in a thermo fan, damage the radiator, or get stuck somewhere it shouldn't do, and do the front bearing or something like that. Not the front bearing, but the front main seal. I want to avoid something like that, so we'll just work on it here. It should be all pretty straightforward. We just might make a bit of a mess. Nothing a few towels won't solve. All right, let's dismantle the front of this engine. This very much is a special car, but it isn't so much because it's an Aussie classic or of a limited run or because it has a big block. It's because it was a father-son project. One day, a little 15-year-old me pointed out this green and white parts car in Dad's shed and said, "I really like that colour. I think it looks really cool." About a week later, Dad pulled me aside and asked, "Why don't we build it, son? Why don't we get it ready for when you turn 16? I immediately fantasized about spinning spanners and messing around with shiny new parts, stoked with the prospect of learning how to work on cars and to have something to show from it. However, it turned out that that was not going to be the case because my father has the mechanical knowledge of about a 3-year-old. He knows the car should go vroom and not kaboom, and that's about it. So a couple of weeks have went by. I've needed to purchase an Allen key that I can cut up because I can't, where I'm trying to get into, I can't get a socket in there. I can't get a normal Allen key in there. So, oh, we've got it. Oh, that is good news.
I may be downplaying my father's capabilities here, but what resulted from this joint venture was mostly us taking the car around to various professionals to get specific work done. However, that's not to say it is any less special. As doing all this, I learned a smattering of other skills, from haggling to reversing a trailer, and after all was said and done, about 4 years over our original finish line of my 16th birthday, I got an amazing car from it, which I've broken down in more than any other.
Is it cool?
Yes, it's still got its problems 11 years after we started, but I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I know this because something is changing, a feeling, something is happening.
Right, the next area of concern is my power steering lines. I've had to buy this, I've never used it before, it's an AN fitting. And it's meant to work with hard lines without having to flare them, because I don't have a flaring tool. Though I've got a feeling it's not going to work and I have to buy a flaring tool. But we'll try it and keep our fingers crossed. But first I need to cut off the old nut, because I have not been able to find a fitting that fits that. I haven't had a hope at all.
You know when you drive a car and you can feel that it's just unhappy, something's off, it's just not right? Well, that feeling is dwindling. Every time I take this car out, I feel more confident in its abilities, and the breakdowns, they're happening because of problems I know about, stuff I've postponed to fix more pressing matters. It truly feels like we are almost there.
All right, will it fit? Oh no! Bugger. We've been waiting a long time for this part. And it doesn't fit. Son of a bee. Son of a bee. Right. Damn it. I'm gonna have to flare it, aren't I? That sucks. Alright. Gotta purchase a flaring tool. Flaring tool aside, we should be able to still install this. Oh, bloody hell. Where does it go? Oh, this is space.
Alright, now let's talk about the John Goss itself, the car, which got its name from the race car driver John Goss after he, along with Kevin Bartlett, won Bathurst in 1974. However, from what I understand, there's a little conspiracy going about that John Goss wasn't Ford Australia's first choice for making a special edition. You see, back in the mid-70s, Ford started having issues selling their Falcons, with their big fuel-guzzling V8s chewing up more dollars than ever before with rising fuel costs. So Ford decided they should release a special edition, and their poster boy in racing was Alan Moffat. And Ford had produced multiple Moffat promotional cars through dealers, all of which performed really well.
That's noisy. Jesus. Okay.
However, Alan Moffat didn't win Bathurst in 1974, so Ford Australia had to make a decision, and they decided to speak with John Goss to use his name in a limited run of XB Falcons. Now, the number of these Falcons is questionable, as Ford didn't number them and didn't publicise their exclusivity. However, from what I can gather from Mr. Dr. Google, it looks like around 700 were made, with 400 originally being produced, and after selling quickly, Ford produced another 300, just over half of which were in the Apollo Blue and not the Emerald Fire Green like mine. Now, 50 years later, there have been many fakers or replicas to the original John Goss Specials, which Dad and I thought this may have been given how poorly it was treated. However, we later discovered there is a way to determine if it was legitimate, and that was by the paint code. Both the blue and the green John Gosses each had a unique paint code that Ford wouldn't use again. And that paint code found on the VIN plaque is the only way to determine if this car is genuine, as there is no numbering, no special VINs, and every special part on these cars can be stolen from other standard Falcon models in the lineup.
May have to figure out another option for that power steering line. Maybe even if I don't know, I'll figure that out. Anyway, let's put in the fan and see what doesn't fit. It may just fit, to be honest with you. Come on, baby, you want to fit. Oh, I got cobweb all over you. Can you tell I haven't tackled this in a while? Oh, we're gonna foul. Yeah. Ah, damn. Alright. So we need a fan that's about, conservatively maybe 20 to 25 mil shorter. Bugger. Oh well, we can't have it too easy. Once more, quite a bit of time has passed yet again. And a big reason because of that is us trying to sort out these thermofans. Now, I've come up with a couple of different ideas of what we can do. The biggest issue I had is I don't know the CFM, the amount of air that these pull. I don't know what they do, and I can't find any information on there because the brand that's on them doesn't seem to be a reputable brand at all. So I don't know how much these output, and I think that's pretty important because right now, they need to run constantly. This will not stay cool unless these are running constantly, which is a bit worrisome in itself, but it's a big motor in a little engine bay. Stuff like that's going to happen. Now, the issue then lies with how much do I get? Like, how much airflow do I get? Ideally, we want to get as much as possible. However, given that I don't know what these are, and they are quite a reasonable size, so I would assume they pump out a lot, rather than just buying something that says it does the max amount of, CFM, I decided I would go with a bit more of a reputable brand in the hopes that yes, they may not output as much as some of these cheaper brands, but hopefully they do it at a longer, period at higher temperatures. So that's why we've waited a bit longer. We've gotten some spool fans, and on top of that, in order for this all to fit, I've gotten 2 different size fans. Now this one pumps out a bit more than this one, but they're both, 12 inches. They both fit on there, but one's a bit slimmer than the other in the hopes that when we slide it in, it'll fit and it'll work. I've measured it. It looks like it will fit, but it might not. It's a bit iffy, I won't lie. It's a bit iffy. So let's just take this off and give it a test. It looks like they have the same stud pattern, I suppose you call it, bolt pattern. There's only one way to find out. We're going to test it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give it a test. Fingers crossed. God, it is snug. That is a very, very snug fit. Jesus, man. That is crazy. But it fits. It fits. Damn. Alright, let's clean up the wiring and then she can go in there for good. That is good news. That is good news. Very good news. So the radiator fans are back in there, they're mounted properly. It's a snug fit. It's really, really tight. Hopefully I don't get too much wobble from the engine. It is a big lumpy V8, so it's going to move around a bit. We'll see how clearances and stuff go. But before we can start that, we need to finish off the power steering lines. Now, I can't remember what my original thought process was here. I was trying to get adapters to mount up to the new power steering pump, which has a different, threads in it and everything like that. I've been fiddling around trying to get adapters and everything to make up, and I ended up with this series of about 3 adapters, and it sort of worked. My friend came around, he looked at it and he was like, what the hell are you doing? Why don't you just make up new lines? Now, I think I thought about that originally, but I wanted to not do that because I wanted to get the car on the road. It's been off the road for months now, so it completely pointless what I was doing. I've got some new AN lines. We're going to run some new ones. The hard lines I can't get out, so they're just going to stay in there for now. I'll cable tie them up, put some stoppers on the end so nothing gets inside of them, and then we'll run some new soft lines. I'm going to use PTFE for the high pressure side. I'm just going to use normal AN lines, the rubber ones, for the low pressure side, and it should be all pretty straightforward. So let's make up some hoses. And then down. So we're talking about there. Oh my god, this stuff is hard to cut. Bloody hell. Alright, we're going to use a knife.
Can you tell I've never messed with PTFE before? But after trying a few different types of cutting tools, I managed to find a hacksaw works the best and made up the high pressure power steering line. After that, we're all good to give this engine a test.
Alright, we have got fresh power steering lines. The power steering pump or reservoir has got some fluid into it. Water and oil's okay. Fans have got clearance. I think we can start it. See if there's any clearance issues. Try to get it up to temperature. Make sure the fans come on and bleed the power steering. I won't lie, I'm a little scared. We'll see how we do, alright? I've raised the front up so we can bleed the car. Alright. I think I've got the things on a switch. Fans work. That's good. Alright. Hasn't been started in a while. Let's see how we go. No, you're too dirty. You're too dirty. You gotta wait. Wait out there. Good girl. Alright, let's just check. The belts have been rubbing underneath there, shouldn't it? It's looking good, it's looking good. Alright. Right. Try again. Quite a bit of smoke. I think that's all the power steering fluid I've leaked everywhere. Alright, let's let it get up to temperature. to be careful because I wasn't able to jack the car up high enough, so it's still, the wheels, the front wheels are still touching the ground. Blew up a line. God damn it. Well, this happens here, not on the road. I have made quite the mess. Ugh. The new fans appears to be working good. And we're not leaking power steering fluid anymore, which is fantastic. But before we take it out for a drive, there's one more thing I'd like to do. Now, the John Goss here is obviously a two-door, it's a coupe. These share, from what I understand, the exact same platform, the exact same chassis as the four-door equivalents, and same with the utes as well, I do believe. Which is odd, because in the back seat of these, there's no legroom. You just don't fit. But in the back seats of the sedan, there's heaps of leg room. I don't quite understand it, because the boots I don't think are that much different size. These are bigger, but it's not massive. But to go along with that, the seats are the same, but the seat rails are different. So the roof line's actually lower, the windscreen's different. If you want to have a coupe, you can't use a Ford's XB's sedan's windscreen. Now, we didn't have coupe seat rails. All we had was the folding mechanism here, which is very important in order to get into the back. But we don't have the seat rails themselves, which is a problem because the seats actually sit higher in the sedans compared to the coupes. We're going to try and resolve that. I've heard that you can swap and mix and match the seat rails in order for them to suit a coupe, but to make my life easier, I've actually got some XB Falcon coupe seat rails. This is from a GS Falcon that's up in Dad's shed. It's been in bits for ages. The intention's been to rebuild it, but nothing's happened to it for over a decade now. So maybe we'll tackle that one day. But for now, we want to see if we can make these work. We're not going to actually steal the seat rails from this. We want to try and keep that car complete. What we're going to try and do is see if we can get these seat rails to match the seat rails we've got. Anyway, we've got something to reference now. We're going to try and get everything the same heights and everything looking roughly the same. And if we can improve the seating position on the John Goss, which is super important because right now you can't sit properly without your head hitting the ceiling. It's really annoying and it just stuffs up the whole sitting position and comfort of driving the car, which gets annoying. All right, let's see now. I think this is a driver's side, so we'll start on the driver's side here, see if we can't make it work. Where's your ball? All right. Well, that's obviously quite different. So this needs to go there. Okay, that's pretty easy. Worries me is that that's on that side. I'm gonna have to grab the other seat. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what's happened. The passenger side is already a coupe seat rail. I haven't had to alter that. And you can tell too, because it's older, the driver's side is a new seat rail, and it's wrong. It doesn't work. And I presume, like, the manufacturing process is obviously different, the old to the new, and I can't alter this one with just this one set at least to suit that. So we ran into a bit of a roadblock. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to steal that seat rail from that seat and put it onto this one. Didn't want to, but this car runs, that one doesn't, so That's what we're going to do. Forgot to check the camera battery. This guy. I've just got it test fitted for now. I might need to move when I'm in there. Oh. Only 2 of the bolts are done. Whoa! This is so much better. Damn, I used to be like up here. Whoa, okay. Wow, they're actually like bucket seats now. Oh my God. That is unbelievable. Gear shifter's a bit far away. That is otherworldly. I might need to be a bit close for the clutch pedal. Alright, let's vacuum out the passenger side and put the passenger side in. This is amazing. See what I'm doing. This is so much more comfier. You know, when we first had this car, when it was first finished and I first got to drive it, not only did we have the solid or hard engine mount, like there was no rubber mounts, it was solid right onto the chassis, which was just vibration city. It was an absolute nightmare. Not only did it have that, it also had overheating issues. And the seat, I don't know why, but it was just mounted like that. Like just you were constantly sliding into the center console. It was, I don't know why. Like this, obviously this car went on a bit of an adventure, but I don't know why it went that way. Obviously no one cares no one cares the right amount or as much as you do about your car as you do. Drive's great. Drive's absolutely fantastic. And strangely enough, it's been cooler than it ever has. It's ran cooler than it ever has done before. Don't know why. I don't know if it was slipping on the belt that was on the alternator. Sorry, not the alternator. The belt that's on the coolant pump before. I don't know if the fans weren't very good. Don't really know. Anyways, that's not why I'm parked here or Depresso for the past, I think, hour and a half now. This has had an issue for a while now to where once you temperature cycle it, once it's up to temperature and then you turn it off, once it's been at temperature for a while and everything's heat soaked, it can be quite hard to start again. It can be like there's obviously built up resistance and it doesn't want to start. And I noticed when I was under there looking at the power steering lines that we've melted some wires. Now, this wasn't bad enough to where I was like, oh, I need to, address this straight away. I was like, oh, they're melted. I need to address those when I have some more time. But right now it's running, it's driving, there's nothing shorting, and I've moved the wires away from the exhaust. We should be okay. Turns out we're not. And it won't start. It sounds like it's got a flat battery, but the battery I think's fine. I think the battery's fine. What I've done is I've pulled over, I've moved the cameras around to get some more footage, and I thought whilst I'm doing that, because I'm doing quite a lot of moving in the camera, setting up this camera, I will turn it off completely. Let it, just have a breather, run the fans a little bit. Not that it really needed it to, I just thought it might be good, save a bit of fuel. Then I went to start it, and it did this. So I waited. I knew this was a problem. I waited. Knew it was going to happen, potentially. It's now been an hour and a half, and it hasn't gotten any better. It's still doing the same shit. Oh, dude, this sucks, man. I was so excited. I think it's an easy fix. What I'm going to do whilst I replace those wires, I'll probably rerun them too, because they're just too close to the exhaust. I'm going to find another way to get them down to the starter motor. I also noticed just then when I looked under the starter motor, there's a bit of corrosion at one of the connections, so I'll give that a clean. I'm also going to upgrade the battery. I'll get a better, bigger battery. This battery here is probably already 5 years old, maybe 4 years old, so it's not at optimal potential, and this is only for a battery for a 351 or a 302. This is a lot bigger motor it's trying to turn over, so I have to get a bigger battery. But I've been driving this, I was driving this for about half an hour, just getting shots and everything and stuff like that. Dude, it is so good. It is so good, man. I was getting emotional. I haven't driven it in. I looked in the logbook. It was 3 months when it last broke down, when it last spun the fan belt. Dude, it was so good. It was so good. It didn't get hot. The temperature gauge, it got up to a point, didn't freaking move. Didn't move a bit, which is incredible, right? And then when I stopped and pulled over, I left the car running as I moved cameras around. No issues. It ran fantastic. And then the seating position, it is so much more comfortable in here. It is fan-damn-tastic. Just doesn't work 100% of the time. Anyway, I'm going to get someone to bring me some jumper leads. The fan and the water pump. A fan or water pump. Now this has thermo... I got a cookie in my mouth.
What is that? That is evil.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Did you have to whack the camera with your tail? Go find your ball. Where is it? Where's your ball? Where is it? You have to go get it. Go get it. Get your ball. Where's your ball? Go get it. Go get your ball. Go get it. Go get it. Go get this one.